Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is April 1st, Monday. The last time I did a video was on March 25th, which was, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday last week. Let's take a look here at the price action for Microsoft. You can see the 1-year chart on the right here, and it's an uptrend. Let's switch over to the daily chart to get a view of how things are going. All right. You can see some of my annotations here. Let me see if I can get the right pointer device to help us review. Okay, let's use this one. I'm going to put it up here. So you can see I drew this red trendline resistance up here at where the all-time high is. Okay, and let's zoom in. The 25th is, what day is it? So 25th, if you look down below. Okay, on the 25th, it's this candle here. It's the red candle right there. That's the 25th. So on the close, I did a video saying there would be overhead resistance, okay, at this zone here, and that likely price would hit that and go downward with this type of arrow, what you see here. So you can see that the 4 or 5 red candles here resulted in a green candle that attempted to retest up here at the resistance area, okay, didn't quite make it. So my thesis hasn't changed. It's going to stay the same. I'm just going to move this arrow tail to a little bit over further so you can see it. Because the RSI down here, okay, remains on a downward slope. I don't see any change in it. And because of that, my thesis remains lower prices for Microsoft due to momentum change. And now the question is, will this be any support here at around the 406? Yeah, it might be. So I'm going to leave it there. Okay, so we'll see. So that is Microsoft. Lower prices due to momentum. Switching over to GDX, gold miners. You can see that in the past couple months, it's been an uptrend, and it's coming up to a zone of, I think, resistance. Let's take a look. Okay, so my annotations here from the 25th was that I was envisioning lower prices, okay, and I said that this would be resistance here. This trend line would be resistance. It did so on the see when the 25th was. The 25th was, okay, 25th is this day right here. This wick here, this is called doji candle. So on this doji candle, I thought that perhaps price would continue its lower move down to here, down to this 200-day moving average down here, and then that would be a good entry. Or perhaps if price were to get all the way down here, down further to below to this zone here, that would be an even more beautiful long entry. You can see very obviously that price instead bought up, busted through this resistance right here, and subsequently used it as support. So I'm going to switch it. And then you can see that price continued to go up. And then today is up here in the 32s. I'm going to move this over to the side so I can have some space. I'm going to zoom out a little bit to take a look at this trend line here, okay, how I can further draw that one. So let's take a look. All right, so this trend line that I'm talking about right here, I'll make it a little bit thicker so we can see it. It goes all the way back to the April 22 time frame, which is right here. Okay, that's the April 22 time frame. And then it touched it again here. Okay, that's the May 23 time frame. And then it's using it as support here. So I'm going to clean this up just a bit. Wow. Okay, so I didn't anticipate that. Look at this, okay? I'm going to show you here. So the way I annotated this, you can see that on this green candle was bought up, wicked all the way up here on the day. On the close of the day, it closed right here. Okay, so that's what touched there. Let's go all the way back further to here. I'm going to correct this one a little bit. I'm going to move up just a little bit there, like that. Okay, so you can see the price respected it from below on the green here and from above on the red here, red candle there. Okay, so this is a legit long-term support line. Let me tweak it a little bit more, down a little bit, just so that it's cleaner. I like my lines a little bit clean. There. Wow. So here's what I see. Because that line, this trend line here, this black one here, has been a legitimate resistance and support trend line, this would have been an awesome entry. So I totally missed it. So my Yeah, I totally missed the entry here. So ideally, if you could have gotten the entry here, right, on the hourly, let's switch to the hourly real quick. Look at that. That would have been a beautiful hourly entry. Okay. If you got that hourly entry, that would have been fantastic. So the question is there further momentum? What's the next move? I'm going to delete some of this for now because it doesn't come into play. I'm not going to cloud our thinking here and just stick to where we are right now. Let the price action and the RSI momentum give us some indication. Okay, so within the RSI, it's just upwardly trending right here, like this, right? It's just kind of going upward. So I don't see any bearish divergence. So gold looks to be a nice long entry down here if we can get it. Let's see if I can make that a little bit, make it straighter. Okay, there. Okay, so that's GDX. Let me save this. That would be a nice entry. So if it comes back down to that zone, yeah, I would take a long myself. So have it come back down here. Question is, yeah, I don't see a momentum change. So for GDX, so that's one area. Let's take a look real quick where some overhead resistance might be. Okay. The next, right, this 35 is the next, call it target. So we could have some support here and yep, down there. So let's keep an eye on GDX. If it comes back down, comes down here, it'll bounce off, right? Come down, and then it could be a long entry for us. Anywhere on the greens here, okay? That would be a nice long entry. Ultimately, I think it's further prices up. Okay, so I'll leave it like that. All right, that's GDX. I'm looking for the pullback on it. Switching to ExxonMobil, look at this. Pretty much all of 24, it's been going up. Let's see if there's resistance overhead for ExxonMobil. On the 25th, which was, let's see, which candle was this? 25th. Okay, so it's this one. This green candle on the 25th, right? On this green candle here, I said that there would be resistance annotated right here, and that price wouldn't get through it. But look what it did. These two candles, past couple of days. So the question is, let's zoom out real quick. I'm going to go to the weekly real quick. Here's the weekly candle. The weekly chart. You can see this thick black line that I've annotated here, this thick one. That's a long-term support resistance line. And the question is, now that ExxonMobil is above it, is that going to be, did it reclaim support? Because to me, there's these zones of resistance. This is the weekly chart, remember. This is resistance, hit it here, hit it here. So the question is, when it hits this line here, is there going to be resistance? Again, for the fourth time in the past few years, because it's been pretty strong resistance up until this date. Yeah, this is the weekly, so you can kind of see that. Let's go to the daily real quick. So the momentum hasn't changed. It's still right here. You can see that there's some bullish. It's still going. It's correlated with price action. So there's no bearishness. Okay. Price is going up and momentum on the RSI is going up. That's going up as well. I'll leave it in black just to show that it's correlated, positively correlated. There's no divergence. So the question is, now that it's above here, we have to respect it as support. Okay, so I'm going to switch it to a support line like that. And the question is, will it keep going? Wow. All right, so this is how I would play it. Between that support line and here, it's only 1%. So a long entry would be adequate. I might take a long myself. With overhead resistance being at, let's see here, maybe if we were to draw this out like that. So the question is, what's the risk reward? If this is about 1.3%, so it's not a lot. And if we were to play it all the way up to, from here all the way up to here, all right, so it's about a 1.3 to a 4%. So the risk reward is decent in favor of a long. I'm going to switch back to the weekly and zoom out just some more. Let's go to the monthly real quick. Yeah, so we are at all-time highs. We're at all-time highs. I'm going to take this line here, kind of annotate like this. Check that out, okay? So zones of resistance. Zone of resistance here. This is on the monthly here, right? This trend line has been resistance all this way. So the 4% upside for it might be as much as we can get. I don't think there's much more that we can get out of it. The safer play, if you're wanting to wait, which is fine. It's better to be patient than to chase. So if it's able to get above this purple line, then that would be an even better long entry. Because right now we're playing in this zone of, it's a zone of all-time highs. It's going to retest all-time highs, and there's going to be a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out. And you can also see on the volume, a decrease in volume here on the weekly. So all these green candles over the past 4 weeks is decreasing in volume down here. Let's go to the daily real quick. All right, let me just clean this up a bit. It's a little bit messy. So near term, I think it's going to go up and retest resistance up here, and then we'll see what happens. But the risk reward for long is decent. It's good for, so 1.3 to 1.3 downside with a 4% upside. All right, so that's XOM Mobile. Switching to Bitcoin. Bitcoin here has been moving sideways. Let's take a look at my prediction on the 25th. On the 25th, which is right here. Okay, that's the green candle right here. That's the 25th. I made a prediction saying that we'd have overhead resistance here and that lower prices are likely to come. But what we can see is once price got above this 68,000 price point, it's used it as support. So the question is it going to stay that way? So for now, let's switch this over so that we can see clearly that it is support. I'm going to annotate a little bit, make a couple lines here so that we can see here. All right, you can see that. And then to me, that's like a rising wedge. Draw another one. Okay, so I would make it like this. All right, so it's on this rising wedge. So this along here would be support, and we'd have resistance overhead here. This is a bearish pattern in general, this rising wedge, pizza wedge. The question is, will it even come up to here, right? Will it come up to this area? Is this a zone of resistance here? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up a little bit. It's kind of messy. Okay, so you can also see this pizza wedge here, right? Right here. Same idea. There's a bearish pattern, and you can see what happened. Price failed, and once it fails, it goes down quite a bit. Okay, this is the way this rising wedge looks. So here, the technical analysis annotation would be measure this here to here. Let's make it thicker and clone it. Where price breaks the rising wedge, right? Wherever it breaks, let's say, hypothetically, let's say tomorrow it breaks. Let's say tomorrow price sells down and breaks this support line impulsively, and wherever it breaks it, perhaps if it retests, it'll probably retest there. So I'll go like that. You can see that the so-called prediction is price would move all the way down to this like 58,000 zone, all the way down to 58,000. So for now, we're going to play it in between this resistance and this support. And this is not an area for a short or a long because it's kind of in between the two, but let's see what happens if it breaks through this as resistance or breaks under this as support. Okay. Of course, as usual, I like to make predictions. I think price will go sideways for a bit and then break downward underneath this and probably come back down here. Okay, that is Bitcoin. All right, those are the updates for Monday, April 1st. Thanks for watching. As always, remember that my content is for educational purposes only. It's not investment advice. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And when you subscribe, please do hit the bell icon.